Oh, welcome to another Seminole War blog. And this I want to read a letter from the end of the Third Seminole War. And it's a very unique letter. And the reason being is first, the background I have here. This is a lithograph or a uh, sketch during the war, appeared in the newspaper. It's called Sorrow of the Seminoles. It's the Seminoles being removed from Florida and leaving their home, even though it has looks like mountains in the background. There are no mountains in Florida, of course. So it's probably not really taken from realism, but uh, just the art of the Seminoles being removed on what looks like a warship. It's to me, it's very, very moving piece. And also, the letter I'm going to read includes this individual, Polly Parker. She's known very well in Seminole history. Uh, what it is when the ship the Gray Cloud leaving Tampa Bay or Fort Myers in Tampa Bay took aboard the Seminoles from Egmont Key, and one of them was Polly Parker, and they stopped at St. Mark's in the Florida Panhandle, that's south of Tallahassee. At the St. Mark's River, there's Fort St. Mark's. And she and some of the women were allowed to disembark the ship as the ship was taking on wood and water. It was a steamship, of course. And they said they needed to gather medicinal herbs. And so Polly Parker, she bolted and ran off and made it 400 miles down south back to Okeechobee. And so she's known as a hero that escaped the white man. This is from a postcard with the postmark is dated 1917. Kind of interesting is I found a obituary and newspaper article. She was the honored guest at the American Legion convention in Florida in West Palm Beach, and I think it was about 1922, so 100 years ago, and which is significant because here she is being honored by American veterans. I myself, I'm a member of the American Legion Post 13 in Tallahassee that was founded in 1919. So, so it means a lot to me that she was honored by the American Legion. So here's the letter. It's from the Adjutant General letters. It's 1858. It's F-55, which I guess it's filed under John Floyd, who was the Secretary of the War. John Floyd was Secretary of War during the Buchanan administration during the Civil War. He sided with the Confederacy and was made a brigadier general in forces in Tennessee. And he was a disastrous campaign because he didn't have all that much military experience. He is more a political politician than he was a military officer, and he was beaten very badly and died soon after in 1863. So this is 1858, F-55. This is page 9, 10, and 11. And the cover says on board steamer Gray Cloud, Egmont Key, Florida, May 6, 1858. This is from Elias Rector, Superintendent of Indian Affairs. He's the government officer who's taking the Indians to the west, Oklahoma Territory, or what they called Indian Territory back then. This is a letter Elias Rector is writing to Colonel Gustavus Loomis, who is head of the Florida troops. Gustavus Loomis, 5th Infantry, commanding the department. Report departure of hostile Seminoles from Florida. And so this is from Colonel Loomis's reports near the end of May 1858. On board the steamer Gray Cloud at Egmont Key, Florida, May 6, 1858. Sir, I left Fort Myers on the 4th instance with the steamer Gray Cloud, which was turned over me for the purpose of transporting the Seminole and Creek delegations and the hostile Florida Seminoles who have consented to immigrate to New Orleans on their way to the country west of the Arkansas. I have on board the steamer with me 123 hostile or Florida Seminoles, of which number 38 are warriors, men and youth capable of bearing arms, and 85 women and children who have consented to immigrate voluntarily. Well, I don't know about voluntarily, and 41 hostiles who have been captured, making in all, with the woman Polly, 165 Indians who leave Florida for their new homes west. Of those left in Florida are the parties of Sam Jones, containing 17 men, 12 active warriors, and 5 very old men. The boat party, containing 12 men and 1 boy capable of bearing arms, and the Tallahassees, of whom little is known, but from the best information had, is supposed to number about 8 warriors. Tallahassees, were more or less now called the Seminoles, but the boat party is probably the remnants of the Spanish Indians, who you may have remembered that Chicaica, Colonel Harney chased after him in 1840 and killed him, but the Spanish Indians were descended mixed marriage between Spanish at the fishing rancheros and Muskogee Creek Indians from up in North Georgia. Dr. John Worth actually did some genealogy work from Cuba about the Spanish Indians. Anyway, back to the letter. Billy Bowlegs says that if the boat party can be found, they would undoubtedly desire to immigrate. The Tallahassees, he said, will also go west as soon as communication can be had with them, as many of the relatives of both the Tallahassees and boatmen are with me and are confident that the 2 bands last mentioned will voluntarily leave Florida upon having an opportunity. The Sam Jones party may not wish to go west so long as Jones, who is very old, lives. Of course, Sam Jones being the Miccosukee Seminoles, Miccosukee tribe, and the Miccosukee speaking Seminoles. I have been particularly requested by Bowlegs and several of the Seminole when with me that the hostilities may not be resumed until the Tallahassee and boatmen can have an opportunity to immigrate. I informed them that I would represent their wishes to you and suggest that hostilities may, for a reasonable time, remain suspended for their benefit. Their views in relation to the removal of the remaining Florida Indians above expressed, I believe to be correct, and would respectfully suggest that hostilities may not be resumed until I can communicate with the Department of Interior and determine whether peaceful measures for their removal will be continued or not. The steamer Gray Cloud, as requested by Assistant Quartermaster McKinstry, will be returned from New Orleans immediately after the delivery of the Indians to that place. Thanking you for the cooperation and kindness extended to me by yourself and staff, I remain very respectfully your obedient servant, signed Elias Rector, Superintendent of Indian Affairs, to Colonel Gustavus Loomis, commanding the Department of Florida, Headquarters, Department of Florida, Fort Brooke, May 8th, 1858, official. Theodore Talbot, First Lieutenant, First Artillery, Assistant Adjutant General. So interesting letter. Now, one more on this. The quartermaster would supply a steamboat that would go from Egmont Key or Tampa up to New Orleans. From there, the Seminoles would be taken to what is now either Fort Jackson Barracks or Fort Pike in New Orleans. Another boat would be contracted to take them up to the Mississippi, to Indian Territory, what we now call Oklahoma. So several steps are involved in the process of removing the people from Florida. But I thought that was an interesting letter, even mentioning Polly Parker. by name. And I hope you enjoyed it.